Cardano is kind of like this really fancy experimental jet that a bunch of crazy scientists have been building for us with brand new technology. This jet has already undergone a lot of testing. We know it's going to be safe, but we've also reached that time when the jet will be complete and we get to fly it for the first time for real. Cardano will soon be in this same position. All the projects will launch, and all the science, all the theories will coalesce into one reality. Ready? Let's go. Today, we're going to discuss the latest updates on Vasil Readiness, Cardano still crushing the competition at actual blockchain development, an interesting footnote about how Solana stores its block history, Liqwid begins its audit of Agora, a behind-the-scenes look at Virtua, and some new info on Reach's Metaverse. If your first thought when you saw this image was, this is not a real plane, this is like the pretend plane that Darth Vader flies to his attorney's office when he's trying to renegotiate his contract with Disney, or if you're finding value in these videos each weekday, please consider delegating to the Army of Spies stake pool, ticker AOS, especially if you're on a centralized exchange. Please help the decentralization of our blockchain. Get your delegation off those centralized exchanges and stake to a single pool operator like the Army of Spies. This is going to be my final plea to you to go vote in this poll. Why? Because the poll is ending the day you see this video. The day this video debuts will be the day this poll ends. And it's pretty early in the day in North America, a little bit later in the day if you're in Europe or possibly elsewhere. But as you can see the standings, we are in third place at 16% of the vote. The reason why I'm still pleading with you to go vote in this poll is because way more people watch each of these videos individually that I do. Way more people watch each video than have voted total in this poll. We only have 16% of this 2015. We get way more views on these videos than there have been voters in this poll. Quite a bit more than double on average lately, more than double. So I know the vast majority of people who watch these videos haven't voted in this poll. Do me a solid. If you like these videos, you can make them a lot more sustainable. It can be a lot more sustainable to keep these videos going. If you'll do me a solid, take out 2 minutes, just come over to this website, gov.MuesliSwap.com, gov.MuesliSwap.com. The link will be in the description box below. Just come over here, sign up. It'll take you like 2 minutes, vote in this poll. We're not going to win. At this point, highly unlikely we could win this poll, but I would love it if we could just do a little bit better, just to show everybody in Cardano how strong the Army of Spies really is. Guys, we are only 9 days away from the Vasil Hard Fork Combinator event. And according to our report here, which we've been checking in on intermittently, updated 9 hours ago, we are so ready. We are getting so close to being ready, with one glaring exception. And I think you can probably already guess what that is. So just to review, triggering the hard fork, we need 75% of mainnet blocks being on the Vasil node candidate, which is 1.35.3, approximately 80% of the ADA liquidity in exchanges, and the top 10 dApps by TVL being upgraded to 1.35.3. How are the stake pools doing? 95%. We're way past the threshold. Threshold was 75. We're at 95. Stake pools, good job. How about downstream component integration? A lot of releases already. A lot of releases. Everything else successfully tested. Looking good there. Exchange readiness. You already know what the glaring exception is going to be. Coinbase. Come on. I begged you last week to do better. I begged you. Look at this. Whitebit beat you. I've never even heard of Whitebit. Whitebit beat you, and nobody's probably even heard of Whitebit. Comment down below if you've heard of Whitebit. I've never even heard of it. Binance, of course, is beating you, Coinbase. Of course, Binance is beating you. Bitrue is beating you. Mexi is beating you. AAX is beating you. Look at all these that are beating you. All of these exchanges are beating you, except for Kraken. Kraken, you're also in the Johnny Come Lately group here in progress. We got a few in progresses down here. few in progresses, but come on, we only need a certain amount of the top exchanges. Coinbase, we need you to pull your weight around here. Be more like Binance. Okay, let's go down here and look at our dApps. Let's look at what the dApps are telling us. MinSwap in testing in pre-production environment. SundaeSwap in testing in pre-production environment. Great. See, they've already tested in the preview environment. MuesliSwap in testing in pre-production. Great. Lending Pond tested. Fluid Token tested. 8x Pro in testing. AADA tested. Good job, AADA. Finance in testing. Meld in testing. Revuto tested. Good job, Revuto. Dequadrant tested. Good job. So we've got quite a few that have already tested in pre-production, and everybody else is in testing. Looking good. It's been really interesting watching the progress toward Vasil, because Vasil represents that point when our super high-tech, cutting-edge experimental jet is able to fly. This is really going to be the first time. Obviously, the blockchain's been running for a long time. We've been staking and delegating for a long time. Smart contracts have even been running for a long time. But we haven't quite been to that point when the vast majority of the dApps, the projects, the platforms can actually launch on the blockchain. They need those SIPs that make up a big piece of Vasil. They need those tools in order to run efficiently. So we haven't really been able to reach takeoff in Cardano yet. This is really the point where Cardano takes off. And it's not going to be a single event like Vasil happens on the 22nd and the next day everything goes crazy. It's going to be this gradual thing. Some projects are not going to launch for months and months and months post Vasil. But I think that's going to be one of the great parts about it. We'll get to watch all of these projects launching. And also cool is that Ethereum is going to be post-merge at about the same time that Vasil launches, maybe like a week earlier. The merge will happen very soon. So there won't be any more excuses. Ethereum will be in its proof-of-stake era that Cardano's been in for a long time. And Cardano will have a fully formed smart contract system like Ethereum's had for a long time. So we're both kind of reaching that point where I know people are going to complain that we haven't really done all the things we're going to do in Voltaire or in Basho for governance or scaling, but we've really reached this point where we're kind of project complete enough for that experimental high-tech cutting-edge jet to take off for the first time, taxi down the runway and actually take flight. That's what we've been waiting for. We've talked a lot. Our critics have talked a lot about how Cardano would never take off, and when it finally did, it wouldn't be anything to speak of. And inside Cardano, we've talked a lot about how great things are going to be once we finally take off. I actually love that we're doing this in the bear market because we can actually pay attention to what's going on. We won't be inundated with the kinds of ridiculous, meaningless projects that often accompany a bull cycle. I like that we're launching in the bear market because I feel like that's when the real builders are building. And then in the bear cycle, there's a lot of building going on, but a certain amount of it is nonsense. So I love that we're launching in the middle of this bear market, and we can really see the real builders launch their projects for the first time. And there won't be any more excuses. All the theory, all the science kind of goes out the window at this point, and we get to see what things look like on the ground or in the air in this analogy. Once all these projects are actually launching, they have the SIPs they need, and we get to see what does this genre of DeFi project look like on Cardano versus in Ethereum? What does this genre of RealFi project look like in Cardano? I mean, I don't know to what extent we can really say something similar might exist in Ethereum, but probably one day. So we're going to be able to really examine what these two blockchains look like in practice in sort of their fully formed, complete manifestations. Finally, we've made it to a full smart contract system that projects can really use. And Ethereum's finally made it to proof of stake after, also years and years and years of hard work to get them there. We're going to see what both these blockchains look like in practice. And I'm really excited because I think the prospects for Cardano are a lot brighter than they are on the other side of the fence. That might seem like kind of a bold conclusion to some people, but maybe not so much when you look at reports like this. This is Contora.ai. They say they are trying to improve your crypto trading by using alternative data about cryptocurrencies and tokens. Nothing about this self-description necessarily puts them, uniquely in the Cardano community or anything like that. It looks like they're just looking at the data. They say our team has analyzed the development activity of 7,400 crypto projects in August and improved our algorithms. Cardano is a new leader. If we come over here to the actual report, we can see that Contora.ai has discovered something that we've kind of always known about in the Cardano community. Here's their chart. The updated top crypto projects by the number of active GitHub contributors over the last month, and they're counting 3,221 total GitHub contributors to this pretty expansive list of, larger crypto projects. Cardano, of course, at the top of the list with a little over 11%, Ethereum only at 9.31%. And if we go down the list towards some of our competitors who get a lot of press, seem to be talked about a lot as a fierce competitor to us, we see Solana at 4.25%, not even half the number of GitHub contributors that Cardano has. I think the rest of the world is discovering that Cardano just has a lot of actual development going on. If we come down here to this chart, you can see a little bit different picture. They say Cardano developers, here's what the entire picture for its GitHub contributors looks like. It's really devs powered. They're taking the lead with 357 active GitHub contributors. You can see if you go back here, to basically before Cardano existed as a thing, you've got a flat line. And then as soon as Cardano comes around, it actually becomes a project. It starts picking up. You've got development and it climbs clear up to these heights. And it hasn't dropped off from that peak right there very much. It's a pretty small drop off compared to where it came from. That's not the same for some other projects. Here's ADA Twitter mentions. You can see a big spike here. With Solana, though, if we come down to their GitHub developers chart, you can see there was a big peak, but I said was, and that implies in the past. And it's now dropped off to almost nothing, almost, some of the lowest levels it's ever been at. And Contora here asks the question, any expert who can say, why does it seem like developers are leaving Solana? That's my question too. But I also think we in Cardano who've looked at Solana have some answers to those questions. Like this, for instance, from Michelle Harmonic, who points out, I was today years old when I learned how Solana stores the blocks history. Hope it makes your day as it made mine. You can probably guess that this is not something that makes Solana look fantastic. And if we come in here, we can see Solana Bigtable. This is from the Solana GitHub. By design, an RPC node with a default limit ledger size will store roughly 2 epochs worth of data. That's not much, 2 epochs worth of data. So Solana relies on Google's Cloud's Bigtable for long-term storage. That's right. For long-term storage, they were relying on Google. Do you even blockchain, bro? Do you even crypto? Come on. You're storing your block history on a Google Cloud product. This is not consistent with the crypto we all signed up for. This is not the era of blockchain decentralization that people thought they were getting involved in. Maybe this is why that developer chart didn't look so promising for Solana. Maybe it's stuff like this. Maybe people, at the end of the day, when the money in the bull market fades away, maybe people really do prefer decentralization. Over here in Cardano, it's nothing but more decentralized progress. Liqwid Labs says, good morning, Cardano builders. We are thrilled to share the Agora V1 security audit by Vacuum Labs has begun. With multiple DAO DeFi teams building products on top of the Agora on-chain governance contracts, we are excited to complete this critical step. So you're probably aware that Agora is the governance contracts for a bunch of different projects, not just Liqwid Labs. Glad to see that this audit process has begun. Hopefully they'll uncover any bugs, possible exploits, so that we can have some great governance among Cardano projects, including this big, heavily anticipated project in Liqwid. If you are curious what it looks like behind the scenes inside one of these projects building a Cardano metaverse, check out this Virtua Dev update number 2, where they show us exactly what it looks like as they build Cardano Island. And there's some pretty interesting glimpses of what's going on in Cardano Island. They show us a bunch of their teams, including ones working in Unity and Unreal Engine 5. And we even got some peeks at what the land claim could look like. Overall, it was just nice to see what a big and seemingly well-organized team Virtua has working on their metaverse. Finally, it looks like we got a little new information on the Reach metaverse if you're looking forward to that land sale that happens on September 30th. So apparently the continent that this virtual world takes place on is called Eden, and the distribution of the land plots is divided up among these different types of terrain. We've got grass, sand, beach, rocky, and snow. It looks like snow is the rarest, and you can kind of guess which are which based on the colors in this map. I'm guessing this is snow, this is grass, this is beach. Rocky, maybe Rocky's the red and sand is the sand colored. I can't quite tell on those two, but I think this is going to be a new and interesting element. I don't know if this will involve resources, if there'll be different resources available in these different types of terrain, different activities. I have no idea, but like with all the rest of the Cardano metaverses, I don't think we're really going to know how much we're going to enjoy any of these metaverse projects until they actually launch. Until then, we're kind of just left to do my favorite thing, baseless speculation. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.